Darkness in Sweetie Belle chapter name, Prologue. I can't hear your voices in my head. Zerub let out a low crackle, spittle flying from her lips. Spirits, are you here to lead me to my path? The zebra half closed her eyes. Or is this yet another trap? Her frail body shook as she sighed. Lifting up the bottom branch of a thick bush, the old witch leaned down under it. Pushing her head in the opening, she sniffed at the flower growing in the shade. Enclosing it with her mouth, she slowly pulled it out of the ground with its roots still attached. Rising up, she released the branch she was holding, letting it fall back down to the ground. The zebra raised up her hoof and placed the flower on top of it. Requirements for my brew are almost met. A few more of those and I'll be set. Zerub looked around and nodded. If you want to help me, spirits, that'd be grand, but no, I will not yield to your demand. She leaned back and placed the rooted flower in her saddlebag. Raising up her neck, she gazed across the vast clearing in the midst of the evergreen forest. There were clusters of bushes scattered all around her, but only a few of them were hiding the herbs that she was seeking. Rare are the places where these flowers grow. This clearing is one of them, that much I know. She walked to the nearby bush and looked under it. But these flowers are so hard to find. Especially since I'm half blind. Help me find now what I seek, says the zebra, old and weak. She looked to the sky. If in search of herbs you help me out, this witch of your deeds will be proud. The zebra waited for a response, then shook her head. No. I give you nothing in return. Concept of giving freely you should learn. Oh, but I do know of your plight. She slammed her hoof against the ground. It's what you're suggesting, that's not right. She rolled her eyes. Believe me, spirits, I have learned the ritual well. Although I'll never use the spell. The nether hurts you, yes, I know. I could help you to transcend it, though, but it would only bring a different throat, and I will never sink that low. She crunched looking left and right as she pushed through another cluster of bushes. Your teachings weren't to make me smart? Oh, no. You meant to use me from the start. The zebra stood up and widened her stance, yelling into the air. Necromancy is all you taught. That banishment on me has brought. I know the cravings you address. The mere thought of them will give me stress. You crave for life. You want a form. You want a body, even if it isn't warm. Don't get me wrong, I see no harm in waking dead. What comes after is what I dread. You feed on others trying to regenerate, even the living you fail to venerate. Your half-life is brief and serves no goal. No matter the effort, you shall never be whole. Her hind leg twitched and kicked, sending a patch of ground in the air. The zebra turned her head toward the sun that was already setting behind the hills. My saddlebag has room and I'm in need of a few more herbs, but darkness spreads and near thought of ever free at night my mind perturbs. She trotted onto the path that led into the woods. The sides of her face tugged at the corners of her mouth as she raised her head and nodded at the air. Yes, I do seek your knowledge, but raising you I shall not promise. If you grant me know-how, I'll be grateful and in return you'll be less hateful. If those terms you don't accept, then in afterlife you should be kept. She shook her head. Pleading with me is to no avail. In land of substance, I won't let you make a trail. Living kind I shall not fail. Shadows of forest trees merged and shrouded the last spots of illuminated ground. She looked up at the appearing star formations and cantered on the path through the evergreen forest. Her ears swiveled in the direction of distant howls as she bit her lower lip. Breaking into a gallop, she raced along ever darker phantasms of the ancient trees. Wheezing with her mouth wide opened, she ran on the dusty path. Sweat gathered under her striped coat, yet she pressed on unwearying, leaving muffled halls in the distance behind her. The zebra slowed down when she laid her eyes on the small clearing that harbored her hut. Panting heavily, she walked toward it. Bad ghosts. My day was wasted, talking to you. The few herbs I found myself, they just won't do. I wish more flowers I had picked, but instead I let myself again be tricked. No help I received from you once more. She sobbed. You would only use me as a horn. Rare gift I have to speak to you. But you refuse to help me even with a common brute. Your intentions are selfish, I found that to be true. This gift is more of a curse you try to use for breaking through. Spirits, your company I like, don't get me wrong, but your whining for life I can only stand for so long. We part our ways now, spirits leave, my hut is not your place to grieve. It's my home and mine alone, my hoodoos will form no enter zone. The witch walked to a totem in front of her hut. Raising up her forehoofs, she slid across its top. It gave out a faint glow. As she moved past it, similar totems placed around the hut lighted themselves in quick succession. From this point forward, only living may proceed. Whimpering ghosts in my home I do not need. She opened the door and sighed. Peace and quiet in my head. Oh, sweet silence. I deserve the rest from all the dead. She shut the door and unwrapped her saddlebag. Her body stiffened as she flinched. Her head snapped side to side, eyes darting around the room. As she spasmed, her saddlebag fell from its perch, over her flank. Leaping backwards, she trampled it with a hoof. Without checking on the precious hurdle on the floor, she took another step back, grinding with her teeth. Her eyes fixed themselves toward the ceiling. What in Tartarus are you? How did you manage to break through? I sense your strength, your power great. If you come with knowledge, we can mingle, if not, in here you should not linger. She perked her ears then nodded. I sense you're more than just a common ghost. Your cognition is worthy of your boast. I do crave for knowledge you possess. To learn it from you, it would be a bless, but you in trade intend to press. She opened her eyes to their full extent and leaned her head back. Teaching me a waste of time you deem, yet order me to take part in your scheme. Why would I help you in what you plan? You have no lever or demand. PFF, ghosts have no force in realm of living. I won't be pressured into giving. Are you mad more so than me? I shall never set you free. And not just the vessel of dead flesh and bones. You want the living one that a soul still owns. From all the tales I've heard so far, yours is one that's most bizarre. The living pony into a vessel you wish to transform, the mortality spell on it you would perform. I'll take no part in this, you are insane. Go now and forget about your evil bane. Her eyebrows raised up. Ha! Your threats are worthless in this realm, you'll need far more than words to make me whelm. She waited, narrowing her eyelids, then slammed her hoof against the floor and snorted. Spirit, go away now, let me be. Her lips stretched into a grim smile, else I'll bind your soul into a tree. The zebra descended into crazed hysterics, shoulders racking as she cackled with glee. The whole hut shook. Shelves vibrated. Pots and talismans crashed on the floor. The zebra crumpled to the ground. Her teeth clenched together, body shaking. She wasn't laughing anymore.